For thousands of years, mountains have guarded the narrow pass of Thermopylae, a place where the sea touches the cliffs, leaving only a thin strip of land to cross, a place where numbers mean nothing and courage means everything. In the summer of 480 BC, the greatest empire the world had ever seen moved toward Greece. The Persian Empire, stretching from India to Egypt, commanded millions, and at its head stood one man, Xerxes, king of kings, lord of nations, ruler of an army so vast that ancient writers said it drank rivers dry. He crossed the Hellespont with a force unlike anything Europe had ever witnessed. Tens of thousands of infantry, elite archers, warriors from every corner of Asia, and his most feared soldiers, the Immortals, chosen from birth to never show fear, never retreat, never fail. Against this unstoppable tide, Greece had only one hope: time. Time to gather armies, time to unite city-states that had been rivals for centuries, time to prepare for war. But time was the one thing they did not have. To hold back the Persian wave, someone had to make a stand. Someone had to delay the advance, even if it meant certain death. And one man stepped forward, Leonidas, king of Sparta. Leonidas knew the truth. The Persian army was too large to defeat in open battle, so he chose the one place in Greece where numbers would not matter: a narrow pass, a single road, a natural gate carved by the sea and the mountains, Thermopylae, the hot gates. He gathered 300 of his finest warriors, men trained since childhood to fear nothing, men who fought not for glory, but for duty, men who believed that death in defense of freedom was the only honorable end. But they were not alone. Hundreds of Thespians, who volunteered knowing they would not return, a small force of Phocians sworn to defend the mountain path, and warriors from several Greek cities who answered the call. Still, they were a tiny force compared to the vast army of Xerxes. When Leonidas arrived at the pass, he ordered a wall rebuilt from ancient stones, a barrier to force the Persians into a narrow kill zone, a wall where his small army could hold back tens of thousands. The Spartans sharpened their spears, checked their shields, prepared their armor, and waited. The sea winds blew hot against the cliffs, dust drifted over the stones, and a silence settled over the valley, the silence before history breaks. Xerxes expected the Greeks to run at the sight of his army, but they did not move. They stood in formation, shields locked, spears ready. When the first wave of Persian infantry charged forward, the narrow pass worked exactly as Leonidas had planned. The Persians could not use their numbers. They could not surround the Greeks. They were crushed into a tight line, forced to fight face to face against armored warriors who had trained for this moment their entire lives. The Spartans fought with precision. Their shields slammed forward, their spears thrust and withdrew with deadly rhythm. Every movement timed, every strike controlled. Wave after wave crashed against them, and wave after wave broke. The ground shook under marching feet. The air filled with dust and shouts. But the Spartan shield wall did not move. Xerxes watched from a distance, astonished. His generals demanded more men, more attacks, more pressure. So he sent in soldiers from different nations, men with curved blades, long spears, short axes. It did not matter. The Spartans held. When the Persians grew tired, Leonidas ordered his men forward. They counterattacked with brutal force, pushing the invaders back down the pass. The Persians stumbled over their own dead. Chaos spread through their ranks, and the first day ended with Persian losses far beyond anything Xerxes expected. On the second day, Xerxes unleashed his elite guard, the Immortals. 10,000 warriors, armored in scale and bronze, trained for loyalty and death. Xerxes believed they would crush the Greek defense, but the terrain betrayed him again. The narrow pass allowed only a few Immortals to engage at once, and when they advanced, they met the same unbreakable wall of shields. The Spartans rotated their lines constantly. Fresh soldiers took the place of the tired. Spears flashed in the tight space like lightning. The Immortals pushed hard, but the Greeks pushed harder. Their shields absorbed the arrows. Their formation refused to break, and the Immortals, the pride of Persia, fell back in frustration. For 2 days, a small Greek army had held off the most powerful force on Earth. But fate had other plans. In the mountains above Thermopylae, there was a hidden path, a trail only locals knew, a path that led behind the Greek lines. A man named Ephialtes, seeking reward from the Persians, revealed the trail to Xerxes. That single moment of betrayal changed the course of the battle, and history itself. Xerxes sent thousands of soldiers through the night. By dawn, they emerged behind the Greeks. Leonidas knew what that meant. They were surrounded. He dismissed most of the Greek allies. He would not order them to die, but the Spartans remained. The Thespians remained. A small band of warriors choosing death over surrender. They took positions one last time. No hope of victory, no hope of rescue, only honor. The Persians attacked from both sides. Arrows darkened the sky. Spear tips flashed. The ground shook with the weight of the final assault. Leonidas fought at the front, his men beside him. Their spears shattered from constant fighting. Their shields cracked, their armor dented. But they did not retreat. They fought with swords. They fought with broken spears. Some fought with their bare hands. When Leonidas fell, the Spartans formed a circle around his body, refusing to let the Persians take him. They died where they stood, every last one, and Thermopylae fell. The Persians passed through the gates, but the cost had been far greater than Xerxes ever expected. The sacrifice at Thermopylae gave Greece the time it needed, the time to unite, the time to prepare its fleets, the time to strike back. 1 year later, at Salamis, the Greeks destroyed the Persian navy. Soon after, they drove the Persians out of Greece entirely. Thermopylae was not a defeat. It was a message that echoed across centuries. Freedom is worth any price, even death. The names of the 300 Spartans and their allies still live on, warriors who stood against impossible odds, not for victory, but for honor. Thermopylae became more than a battlefield. It became a symbol of courage, of resistance, of the moment when a small group of men held back an empire and changed the direction of history. And to this day, the hot gates remain a reminder of a simple truth. Some walls are not built of stone. Some walls are built of men.